Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to use the Ringplan platform to create an inbound dial plan that looks kind of like this. And what I'm going to do is explain this really fast, and then I'm going to show you how to actually translate this into a dial plan. So in this scenario, we have an inbound call. We have a holiday check to see if it's a holiday. We want it to go to an after hours if it's on a holiday. Also, we check to see if it's business hours. If it is not business hours, then we also want it to go to the after hours IVR. And if it is business hours, then we want to go to the normal call flow. And then what that's going to do is it's going to start out by saying, "Welcome to our company. Thanks a lot for calling." It's going to ring all the phones, and then if nobody picks up, it's going to have a more detailed IVR that you can press, and if they still don't do anything, then it's going to go to voicemail. The other option is, if it is a holiday, it's just going to go to the after hours IVR, which could have a couple options and then go to voicemail. Or if it's not business hours, it'll go to the after hours and then go to voicemail. So that's what we're going to do. Let's get started. First thing we need to do is check to see if it's a holiday or if it's business hours. We're going to start out with the dial plan. First thing we want to do is check time groups. I've already pre-configured a couple things here. We have holidays, standard 6, and holidays, federal 9, and then we also have a business hours. Let's just check and see what these holidays look like. First thing is 1st of January, so that's kind of what all those time groups are going to be for the federal 9. That looks pretty good. We have our holidays here, and it's linked to a time group. So let's see what that's set to currently. We have time condition holidays. Basically, we have this destination matches and destination does not match. If the destination matches, it's going to do this set of actions, and if it does not match, it's going to do this set of actions. So matches means it is a holiday, and we're going to go to the after hours IVR. And in this case, we decided we wanted to use the federal 9. So we're going to change that time group to be the federal 9 that we defined over in the time group over here. And we're going to go to the after hours IVR if it is a holiday. If not, then we're going to continue on, and we're going to check to see if it's business hours. So that's this first one. Check to see if it's business hours. Let's go ahead and save that. Now, let's go to the business hours one and see what happens. Alright, now we are looking at business hours time group. So let's go to the business hours time group and see what we have there. Business hours time group, currently we are looking at 8 o'clock till 1700 hours o'clock, which is 5. 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, that's it. So if it's 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, then it will be business hours. So that will be yes, not a holiday, and it is business hours. We're going to go to this IVR welcome. Let's see what we got going on here. Hours. So if it matches, means that it is 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. We're going to the IVR business hours welcome. Not match, then we're going to the IVR after hours IVR. That's the same place where the holiday went. Okay, so that sounds pretty good. Now, what we want to do is we want to record the after hours IVR message and the welcome message for the IVR. First thing we're going to need to do there is we're going to have to set up a recording. So we do have a default recording which tells you how to do this. We're going to have to do another recording, and we're going to call this business hours message. Description. Now here we can either upload the recording, or we can record it in the browser, or we can record it over an extension. What I'm going to do, record it over an extension. Just to kind of make it a little bit easier, I have pre-written out the script that I'm going to read for each thing, just so I can read it off and make it sound really professional. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit record over extension. This is the easiest way to go. I'm going to put my extension number in here. Then I'm going to hit call. Phone rings. I'm going to answer it, and I'm going to speak my message. Thanks for calling Acme Corporation. If you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time. Otherwise, please choose from the following option. For sales, press 1. For support, press 2. For accounting, press 3. Or for a dial by name directory, press 4. Thanks for calling and have a nice day. Okay, so now that I've done that, it's asking me to name the file. So I'll call this business hours welcome. Save. Okay, it's there now. Submit that. Alright, so we needed to record this message, and now we also have to record the after hours message. So let's go ahead and do that as well. We're going to go ahead and put my extension in here. I'm going to read the other script that I wrote, and that's going to be the after hours script. Thanks for calling Acme Corporation. Our offices are now closed. We can be reached Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We look forward to hearing from you when we return. Goodbye. Alright, what I've done is recorded that file. Let's give it a name. After hours message. Save that. Alright, so we've got those two messages. Great. So we've got this one recorded and this one recorded. For the IVR message, let's go ahead and apply that message to the IVR and start building that IVR out. What we're going to do is we're going to go to that IVR and we're going to go to the business hours welcome IVR that's already created. The announcement is what you're going to want to change in order to get that new message in there. You can see that this business hours message is available, so I'm going to go ahead and submit that. While we're at it, let's go ahead and change the after hours as well. And I'm just going to change that after hours just like that. Perfect. Now let's see where we're at here. Next thing we wanted to do is one more IVR, which is a welcome message. Okay, so let's do that. Recordings. Let's record another one. This, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, so basically it's going to come in, it's going to say, thanks for calling Acme Corporation. Please wait while we locate someone to take your call. It's going to ring all the phones. Then, if nobody picks up, it's going to go to that second IVR. Alright, so let's do that. Thanks for calling Acme Corporation. Please wait while we locate someone to take your call. Alright, there's that one. Now we're actually going to have to create a new IVR. Call this announcement is going to be hours intro announcement. Right, so we've got this one recorded, we've got this one recorded, we've got this one recorded. Okay, we need to do a ring all, which we're going to do a queue for that. So first thing we're going to do is we have this queue right here, 701. It's already completed. Okay, so let's start putting this together. First thing we got to do is we already know that this inbound call needs to route to this is it a holiday message. So let's go to our numbers here. Let's just pick a number. Let's just pick this one since it's currently routing to terminate call. And let's route this to a time condition. I'm going to route this to holidays. So basically what's going to happen is this phone number is going to route to is it a holiday, and then holidays here, so it's going to come here because that's what we just said. Then it's going to check to see if it's a holiday based on this time group, and if it is a holiday, it's going to route to the after hours IVR because it matches. If it's not matching, it's not a holiday, then it's going to route to another time condition, business hours. Business hours time condition, same thing. It's based on the business hours time group, and if it does match, which means that it is business hours, it's going to go to the IVR business hours welcome. Actually, we want to change that because we need to do the intro first. In our diagram, we decided it's going to do a little intro, then it's going to ring all the phones, then it's going to go to the real IVR. We're changing it to the intro. Otherwise, if it's not business hours, then it's going to go to the after hours. So that's one change that we just made. Alright. So now we need to go to this IVR and we need to make it to where after it plays the message, it goes to this queue. So let's do that. So business hours intro. So we have a timeout here of 10 seconds. We just want 1 second timeout for this because it's going to play this message and then it's just going to immediately time out. And that's kind of the default behavior that we want in this case is we're just saying, thanks for calling Acme Corporation. Please wait while we locate someone to take your call. 1 second later, does the next thing. So that's the timeout. That's what we're going to want here. So timeout retries, we're going to set this to 0. We don't want any retries. Timeout recording, we're going to set it to none. Timeout destination, we're going to set this destination to a queue, and it's going to be 701. We're not going to have any options here. Let's see what else we got. Tries. Save that. Submit that. Now what we've just done is we've created a 1 second timeout for this message. Is going to play. 1 second later, it's going to go to ring all. Double check that and make sure that's what it does. Business hours intro. Direct dial is disabled. You can't dial any options. You just listen to the message. That's it. We've got a 1-second timeout. 0 retries, so it's not going to keep retrying. Valid recording is none, so if you don't do anything, it's not going to play anything. Invalid destination. We're just going to also set that to queues. It's going to go to the same spot. Timeout retries is 0. Does timeout, it's not going to try anything again. Timeout recording is none, so that means if you do timeout, it's not going to play any sort of recording, it's just going to do the next step. Timeout destination is queues, 701. Okay, that looks pretty good. Down here, if we wanted to, we could set digits, but that's not applicable here. We'll do it in the next step. Now, this thing is going to drop into this queue 701. Then, what we want to do is, we want to configure this 701 queue to go to the next step. So let's do that. So 701 queue. This is a ring all. Ring strategy is ring all. This could be different depending on what you're trying to do, but we're just going to do a ring all. We're just trying to ring all the phones. Failover destination. We need it to go to this IVR if it fails over. If it rings all the phones and nobody picks up, it needs to go to this IVR. So let's do that. Call it business hours welcome. Now a couple other things we want to check. Queue agents. This is where you would add all the agents into the queue. If I just added these as static agents, then every time that it drops into this queue, all 4 of these phones will ring. Max wait time unlimited. We're not going to want that. We're going to want this to be 6 seconds per ring. So if we wanted 4 rings, we do 24 seconds. Agent timeout. We also want this to be set to 24 as well. Looks pretty good there. That's going to be good enough. What we've done is we've said this is going to ring 4 rings, 24 seconds, and if nobody picks up in 4 rings, it's going to drop to this second IVR business hours. So let's go check that one. Alright, so we've got that announcement, we already put it in there. Business hours welcome. Enable direct dial is on this case, so in that case, we said if you know your party extension, you may dial it at any time. This direct dial is enabled. If you know your party's extension, dial at any time. It can only be dialed if this direct dial is enabled. We're going to want this timeout to be back to 10 seconds. Valid retries is 3. In our example script, we have for sales, press 1. For support, press 2. For accounting, press 3. For dial by name directory, press 4. Let's say they press 7. That's invalid. It's not one of the options that we give them. So we can say, we did not understand your input. And we can try that 3 times before we fail. So if they do have an invalid recording, leave that as default. This invalid destination, I'm going to have it go back to itself. So if they do put a wrong number in, it's going to go back to itself and it's going to repeat the IVR again. Timeout retries, that's if they don't do anything. We'll give them 1 chance to do that. This one, if you have the default, it'll say something like, we're sorry, we didn't get a response. Please try again. We give them 1 try to try it a second time. If they do timeout, we're just going to go to voicemail in this case. I guess we'll just go to 1001 unavailable. It's fine. Alright, all those options look pretty good. What we just did is we configured this IVR. If they time out, it goes to voicemail. If you recall, we have options 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1 for sales, 2 for support, 3 for accounting, 4 for dial by name. Back in there, and now at the very bottom we have the digits pressed. We've got 4 options, 1, 2, 4. Okay, so 1 for sales. So let's just say that we're going to just drop this into an extension 1001. 2 for support, and we'll call this say 1002. 3 for accounting, and this could be another ring group or it could be another queue depending on what you're trying to do. I'm just keeping it simple, dropping it to extensions because we already have that configured. So we'll go with 1003 and then dial by name directory. In this case, we do have a directory item here. The last thing we need to do is configure this after hours IVR. So we haven't done that yet. So let's go there. After hours IVR. This one is going to play the message, go to voicemail. Want to allow people to do direct dial? I guess we should. So let's do direct dial enabled in this case, just in case they want to call in after hours and they do know their party's extension. It's kind of like a hidden option. Retries 0, right? Yeah. No retries. We're just going to go to voicemail. Okay, and there's no options here. It's just after 4 seconds, you go to voicemail. Alright, let's submit that. Try it. Check this number out here. we can test this out and see what happens. Alright, so this number is going to time conditions holiday. Because I am recording this on a Sunday, it is going to go to the after hours prompt. So let's go ahead and give that a shot and see what happens. There we go, and that actually worked. Okay, so that's perfect. Let's see, we want to test it and do another number here, the 619 number, and let's set this number to go directly to this IVR message so we can test that part. IVR hours intro. Alright, let's give that a call, the 619 number. Okay, and all my phones are ringing, which is what's supposed to happen. Now let's wait for a couple seconds, and it should go to the voicemail, or the next IVR actually. So it did actually fall through to the voicemail after a couple attempts. So actually that worked perfectly. Sounds pretty good. I mean, we could do a lot better with recording those prompts better, things like that, but that's pretty much how you do that dial plan right there. I just wanted to show you guys how that works. See you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.